This chapter focuses on just a couple of the P's in the marketing process: pricing and the product itself. When you're developing a product, there are several different classifications of goods and services that you can develop. And the first category of goods and services are convenience products. And these are products that you really don't think about. Things like milk and eggs and gasoline. You don't really care which gasoline you buy as long as it's the cheapest. The same thing for milk and eggs. You might open up the container, make sure they're not broken, but and if you're like most people, you don't research the best eggs that are out there. Moving up the hierarchy, another category of goods will be shopping goods and services, and these are products that we do research a little bit. If you're going to buy a computer, you might research, which is the best one that's out there. Same thing for a refrigerator or clothing and shoes. You're actually doing some research, and you're not just buying the cheapest one that's out there. You're buying the one that most closely fits your needs according to your research. Moving further up the hierarchy of goods and services, we have specialty goods and services, and these are often associated with the term luxury. And these are things that you buy because they have a particular brand name, and a lot of times they'll give you prestige for owning or shopping for these particular products. And still another category are unsought goods and services, and these are products that we don't know we need until you need them. And of course, some examples given to you here are funeral services, car towing services, flat tire repair, that sort of thing. So that's another category of goods and services. And still another category of goods and services would be industrial goods. Industrial goods are things specifically marketed in the business-to-business market. Well, after you've decided on your product and your category in which it's going to fit, you should be aware of something called the product life cycle. And like the slide says, it's a theoretical model, but it helps you understand where your sales and profits will be the highest within the stages of the life of the particular product. And those 4 stages are introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. This graph illustrates the theoretical model of the product life cycle, and notice, if you will, the kind of the orange line at the bottom represents profits, and profits kind of peak right in the growth stage, right when you begin to hit maturity. Sales peak, on the other hand, in the maturity stage. All right, after you've come up with a product and you know where it fits and you have some ideas of how you're going to promote that product, the next step is, of course, to decide how to price that product. And as this slide shows us, there are different objectives in pricing. You could build traffic, you could introduce your product, you can create an image by your price. So lots of different strategies that you can use when pricing your product. Another thing to consider when you're pricing your product is something called a break-even analysis. And the break-even analysis tells you how many products you have to sell in order to break even or not lose money. And when thinking about your break-even analysis, you're going to be including your fixed costs and your variable costs. Your fixed costs are how much it costs even if you don't make or sell a certain product, and things like that would be, rent and some utilities. And there's variable costs, and variable costs change according to the level of production. So obviously, the inventory that you purchase to make your product would be a variable cost. Utilities, if it takes electricity or other utilities to make your product, would also be considered a variable cost, as would production labor. Well, there's a brief introduction to what this chapter is going to cover, so lots of things to consider in developing products and pricing products. So have fun, read the chapter, enjoy it, and learn some of the concepts that it covers.